So a lot of people will tell us that, you know, your child is not independent. I think extremely important before getting into a partnership. How committed are you to this? Are you interested in staying together? We talk about mental health, parenting, and we naturally think that in a couple therapy, the woman is right.
Divorces are increasing after having kids because the other person start thinking, I think the women start thinking that our conflicts will affect our kids. Today we have a Sakshi ma'am who is a couple therapist. She is going to tell us more about parent conflicts, couple conflicts, and how to deal with it and what are the solutions. Don't forget to like the video if you like it, and do share with all the couples who are dealing with the same problem, and subscribe to my channel. Hi Sakshi ma'am, welcome to our podcast. I'm very happy that you have come here for the podcast. And I want to start, as you are a couple therapist, and I want to start that why parenting is such a beautiful journey. Why, after becoming parents, couples start having so much conflicts?
Oh my God, thank you, Verma, first for having me here. It's my pleasure. And that's such a important question, because on this question, what rests is what becomes of our children later. I think, why does the conflict start? Because both husband and wife are coming from different kind of parenting and different kind of environments from their own homes.
Yeah.
Depending upon how their parents parented them, they've got these very fixed ideas. And every father or mother wants to do the best for the children. And what do they think? What is best is what their parents did with them. The problem comes when there are two different parenting styles that, the couple is coming with. What would you do then? And I think the only way out in this is to have this conversation much before you actually
Plan
the baby. Because that is something which is going to shape your child's life tomorrow. And if we put in education for anything, if we are going to college, we for the admissions we do the work. When we are going for a job interview, we first practice, prepare, and go. Anything in our life that we are doing, even if we are going for a holiday, I want to go to Switzerland. Will I go without reading about it? Would I have a good time in Switzerland if I don't know what are the best deals possible? Why don't we do that with parenting?
There is no rule book, and there is no prenatal counseling sessions which are done here. I think that is also lacking a lot.
Yeah, and I think that also comes from the fact that we've not paid too much attention in this. So being a parent is as tough as being an engineer. But we don't think the education is required, because we also come from a family system which says that we should know this on our own. So if I am going to be a mother tomorrow, I should just know how to be a mother innately, because I can give birth to a child. Same with fatherhood. So I think the conversation has to start much before. Being more self-aware from what are the kind of parenting narratives that we are coming from, because we are all also carrying some amount of childhood trauma. There are certain things we didn't like in our parents. It's better to have that conversation before, in between the couple. And I think with that learning and that understanding, the conflicts are going to be much less.
Yeah, I think when anybody is getting married, they all feel it's a bed of roses, and everything is going to be perfect. And but nobody knows that after having a baby, you're going to have sleepless nights, and that also impacts the relationship, because husband will say, I want to sleep, I have to go to next day to office. Wife will say, the whole day I was with the child, now at least hold the child. And that also create another kind of conflict.
Oh, another really big one, because in earlier times when our parents were bringing up children, the gender roles were very specific.
I agree.
So man went out and did all the work outside, and women did all the work at home. Share child taking care of the children, taking care of the house was very specifically a woman's job. Were there less conflicts earlier? Yes, because I think the gender specificity was a lot. But now we are moving towards a more gender equal role in most people's house, because women are working, they're more self-aware. So now who is going to be more sleep deprived is going to be a question. And rightfully so, because the mother is going to get tired. Mother can't do it all. And men also need their sleep because they need to go and provide for the family. So how do you solve this puzzle? What did you do in your life?
So both the time I was the only one who was getting up, because I knew that my husband has to go to office the next day. And being a sleep consultant myself, I not during my first time, and the second time I knew that how to train my child to sleep better, and taking a good care and making them sleep on time so that they don't have wind down periods. So that's what helped me a lot. I think in sleep part, a lot of people still don't know that kids also need a little bit of training to make them sleep better.
Yeah.
So they have more deeper sleep, so that moms get to sleep even much better. So so my child, so since day one, he is sleeping at 7. So he used to sleep at 7 and used to wake up around 7. In between, he used to wake up, but only for the feeds. So I think that are much easier job. You just have to get up, feed the baby, and put them to sleep again. So that's how I.
Oh, no, but that's so beautiful, Garma. I'll tell you why, because I think everything requires learning.
Yeah,
Being a
absolutely.
sleep consultant, you have a lot more knowledge and learning around it.
Yeah.
So it's not that your child is difficult or my child is not difficult. I think how disciplined we are as a parent
Yes.
makes a lot of
Lot of
difference.
sense. Yeah.
And having said that, I think your husband should have woken up a few nights, but that's okay. That's okay. I think for him to come, or
Yeah.
for the world to come to a place where men can do this well also is going to take some time. But another thing which is very important is that women historically have been self-sacrificing lambs in our society. So for us, when a child is born, a woman is often told that from the social conditioning or otherwise, that you don't matter. Now only your child matters. I don't know if you remember your time, but I remember my time. And my kids are 24 and 25 now. But when the children came along, all attention went to them for the next many months. When we are pregnant, we are the princesses and the queens, and we are taken so much care of. And the moment the children are out in this world, moms don't matter as much.
Yes, everybody comes and asks, how's the baby? The baby is fine. The baby is doing good.
Exactly. And a woman is also supposed to know how to feed, how to naturally feel love. And I think that's where the whole problem between the couple conflict or problems with intimacy or problems with couple relationships start, because giving birth to children means you're actually, you died and you came back to life. And you need a lot more care. Your child will get all the care in this world. Actually, what your child needs at that time is emotional support in the way that it is skin to skin, feeding and taking care. But what a woman needs is a lot of emotional support during this time. But hota to ulta hai. So the woman is just left behind and everything is about the baby. And this is the time again through learning, if the fathers can see the mothers a little bit more closely and can support emotionally. So I won't say that, see, if you've got, if the husband's the only one providing, and he has a 14-hour job. Expecting him to wake up and doing those equal duties is also not fair,
Yeah,
right?
I agree.
Yeah. But what he can do is give that emotional support that is required. Just that one hug or appreciation, or really seeing, hearing, and understanding your wife during that time will go a long way, because I think the conflicts start happening because a woman starts feeling not seen, heard, understood. Um, and uh, and it's difficult for fathers too, because from a social conditioning perspective, what happens to them is also not okay. What happens to them is that they're expected to now really grow up. The world tells them, the parents tell them that no, you can't be like this boy anymore. You need to earn more. You have to be responsible more. So even the father doesn't have that preparation, and there's a lot of burden put on him. And that is also coming from a lot of social conditioning. So the father is struggling because the father is like now constantly thinking, oh my God, I'm earning this much. I need to earn double more. I need to be providing more for my family. I need to send my child to college. And we don't talk about men's mental health around this a lot, but that's a big burden to take as well. So he is struggling with his own burdens. The mother is struggling with her own burdens of not knowing what to do. Sometimes the child is not latching. Sometimes she's sleep deprived. The child's crying. She doesn't know how to burp. There's so many things that she's struggling with. And when two people are struggling in their own places, who's going to give the support to the other?
And I think they both don't talk to each other regarding these struggles also. And if I'll say me also having a lot of conflicts after having baby, I think it's natural and everybody has it. And after listening to you now, I also can relate to it that he was working for such a long hours. I can't expect him to get up. And on the contrary, he is also struggling. I am also struggling, and that communication is not happening. And the communication is lacking, and whenever he's coming home also, we are always talking about the child and never about us.
That's a big one. That's a really big one. Garima, in all my counseling stories, all the couple therapies I've ever done, the first question I ask the couple is that, tell me, which is the most important relationship playing in your house? And doesn't matter if your child is 1, your child is 5, your child is 15. And do you know what they say? They say, oh, parenting. Our children are the most important people in this world, and both are completely focused on our children. And I tell them, here, listen, that's the problem. Because these children that you brought into the world are not people you own. You're going to rear them, you're going to take care of them, you're going to give them the emotional support, they're going to grow, and they will live their own lives. But your spouse remains your partner and your companion for life. And what you are doing to your partner is that you are just leaving the leftovers for your partner. And all your good times, beautiful times, love, affection, taking care has gone to your kids.
Yeah.
I know a lot of mothers who would say, the fathers would want to go out and, normalize all this. The mothers would say, no, I can't leave the child. Oh my God, I can't leave the child to the mother-in-law or to somebody else. Something will happen to him. And it's natural, because this child is an extension of you. This child is dependent on you. A mother is naturally the protector.
Absolutely.
And I get it. But the mothers sometimes forget the fathers in the story. And a lot of problems start creeping in, because the man in your life needs care and attention too. And I understand that, 80% or 90% of your time will go to a child who cannot feed on his own, who cannot do anything on his own yet. So he or she is dependent on you. But at the same time, even if you can't even do about a 20% for the person who's helped build this beautiful child for you, uh, the gap is going to grow, and then that's where the communication problems come in. Because if you've given so much love to each other as a couple in the first few years of your marriage. The person's used to your support. The person is, your companion or partner comes back home and has a shoulder to rest on. And then the children come around, and then everything is around the children. No, but the child has a class, the child has to get up in the morning, so I cannot wake up late and watch a movie with you. The child has certain needs. Those needs to be fulfilled first. And Garima, the worst part is that this is all very counterproductive, because the children are as happy we are as a couple. So all that overextending behavior that we have for our children, we put them first. And then if our relationship deteriorates with our husband or our wives, it's counterproductive because our children have seen a terrible example of relationship. Our children haven't seen safety. So it's all counterproductive. We need to give each other the top of the pyramid priority forever if we are committed in a partnership or in a marriage, irrespective to the children.
And I think after having kids, physical intimacy also decreases to a level. And because obviously kid is between the two of you, and you're not able to talk to each other, you're not able to give that physical touch to each other, and that also create a lot of stress amongst the both of you, and that also has a lot of impact in the marriages, and then they start having fights because you're not giving time to me, or either way. I'm not saying only girls have to give, the guys also feel the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And how big is that one? Because again, why are children co-sleeping with us till age 10, 12? I know so many parents. There's nothing wrong in co-sleeping, but we also have to realize that we're again putting them always in the middle of us.
Yeah.
And that's a problem. Of course, the intimacy is going to decrease. Initially, yes, a woman's body is changed. It's so tired. You are now also lactating. Your back's gone. You don't even own your body anymore because that small kid is now going to kind of leave you, and that's understandable. But still, intimacy is not just sex, right? Intimacy is holding hands. Intimacy is just kind of stealing a coffee together. Intimacy is many other things. But like I said, if we only never forget that this child is 50%, this child is built by both of us. This child is the most beautiful thing that we've done together. Then it is also our job to do as well as we can in our own relationship, because that's why this child's come into this world. Now, how come this child's become the only apple of our eye? How come this child is the center of attention so much that the person who's brought you this beautiful gift on this earth is not important anymore? It is going to, and what happens is, I think, lack of intimacy, lack of communication, lack of intention towards each other, then keeps building bigger conflicts, which again are never talked about. Because, if for example, if a husband talks about not having intimacy and the wife in her mind is saying that, come on, yaar, I mean, this person doesn't understand. I'm like, tired to the hilt, and they don't make this communication.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree to it. Okay, couples don't communicate and they don't make this it's going in their head, and they are not communicating, and that's and the build-up comes, and sometimes they backlash on each other in front of children. They start shouting at each other on small things, and that also affects kids in a way, a lot of ways.
Oh, so much. And if we understand that. So another thing as a trauma therapist, as a psychotherapist, I'd like to say is that we don't understand emotions. And we've termed negative and positive emotions very strictly in our lives. So if we are angry, if we are sad, we are frustrated, those are in our minds negative emotions, and we need to be calm, we need to kind of handle them. But emotions are emotions. So if we are happy, and we can only be happy if we know what sadness is, right? We can be calm if we know what anger is. And like you said, if there is a lack of communication and there are two people thinking something but they're not speaking it out, what they're doing with their emotions are they're suppressing it. And the big puzzle is that emotions can't be suppressed. Any emotion that is suppressed gets amplified. So you're going to keep quiet, and with the anger for 5 days, the sixth day, you're going to have a volcanic eruption. And if that volcanic eruption is outside in angry tone, the relationship suffers. If you are submissive and you will not take that anger out, that emotion still has to go somewhere. Now that emotion of anger is inside you, and it can have a volcanic eruption inside as well, which means postpartum depression, which means anxiety, which means mental health issue. When you internalize the anger instead of releasing it, you can have a major mental health disorder for yourself. And a mother with a mental health disorder, depression, anxiety, very frustrating lives, will do what to her children? She won't be able to give the emotional connect to the child. So if the child's emotional needs are not met by the mother who's depressed, the child grows up and becomes somebody later in his or her life who's always looking for love, or who becomes an angry person himself or herself. So why don't we understand that this is couple relationships, marriages, mother's mental health is the most important thing and part of the puzzle of good parenting. Good parenting is not just, making sure that they sleep enough, they eat nutritious food, they go to the best colleges and schools. The most important part of the parenting is teaching them what good relationships are, what peace and calm in the house is. Because if a mother is not okay, and the father is not okay, there's chaos at home. If your child's ecosystem has chaos, the child is, what a child needs is safety and love. But if we are unable to give that to our children, then they grow up on a survival mode. They're going to be looking for love outside, they will be making bad decisions, they will be not intrinsically motivated. These kids are not the ones who study the best, these kids are not the most well adjusted in classes, because they grow on chaos. Again, goes back to what we're talking about, couple relationships, our own mental health, both parents, I think. A lot of talks that we do, we talk a lot about mother's mental health, but I think father's mental health is as important.
I think fathers are also juggling between their mother and their child's mother.
Yeah.
I think after having a baby, I think this is a major part when your mother-in-law is telling you, feed this way, do this way, and you have your own things that you have given birth 30 years prior, and today the world has different ways of doing things, and they have their own particular sets of structure in their mind that this to be done in this way only, and then they are telling हस्बैंड्स के देखो वो ये ऐसे नहीं कर रही है एंड उसको ऐसे करना चाहिए, इसीलिए बच्चा रो रहा है, इसीलिए ये हो रहा है. आई थिंक दैट मेंटल प्रेशर इज टू द husband also, the wife also, and it really becomes very difficult for both of them to channelize, and then they don't talk to each other about the same things.
Yes, because I think again goes back to the same thing. Tell me which father, when we are expecting or when we are thinking of having a child, there are lots of parenting books. Now, thankfully, as somebody who's been parenting coaching for very long, a lot of people come and study. But honestly, even in my practice still, parenting sessions, only the mom comes.
Agree.
So if the father does not have the preparation, education, understanding, child development milestones, what to eat, what happens when, then the father will have to rely on either the mother-in-law or the mother, and maybe, and I'm sure that mothers and mother-in-laws have done it all. They know it better than us, but they lived, you're right, 30 years ago, in the systems which are very, very different today. So if the father doesn't do the preparation himself, if the father is not read, if the father, so I do courses where I do talk about preparatory work for both the parents before the child is born. And some people come when they are pregnant, they won't come before, but that's okay. So simple things about, if you ask a father, they don't know how many trimesters are there in pregnancy. They won't know in child development
how many scans are going to be there.
Scans
They
are going to
never visit. Either they send mother-in-laws or somebody.
because that is the social conditioning. Because the mother-in-law will get upset if she is not part of the game. There's nothing wrong in that. I mean, good homes, older people come with a lot of experience. You and me work, Garima. If I did not have support back at home, where I felt that my kids were on staff who I don't know or were on strangers, I won't have done what I've done in my life. And I have a lot of regard for older people for that, because but they don't know it all. They've not come from the same place. And more than that, I think this is a couple thing. This is something a father and mother need to have a discussion around. Another thing that I'd like to say is that, when mothers give birth, there's a very major hormonal change. The body changes, the mind changes. It's a very, very different and a difficult period. We need to educate fathers around that. If the fathers think that, all will be well the moment the child is out of the womb, then the father has no education around how a woman's body or a woman's hormones work. There is a lot of brain fog for years, sometimes at least a year or two, because the brain of the mothers have changed quite a bit. Why? Because they have now attached to somebody outside their body, and they can feel how the children are feeling, and that's the mother-child connection. Now, if that is not understood by a father, the father would also kind of say that, oh, she doesn't spend time with me, or she's only interested in the kids, or why is she so tired, why aren't we partying anymore, come. Now, he also needs to be educated around the fact that the mother is going to naturally feel a connection so strong that she can't leave initially. Or if we give her more mental support, she will find in herself to get out. So it's again coming back to the same thing. Like you said, communication, education, and also taking both fathers and mothers together on this journey. This is not just a woman's job. And it's not just a man's job to provide, right? Also, the women who are not working, they're doing a lot more work or they're taking a lot of burdens that the men took earlier. So they just need to go together, both of them.
Yeah, absolutely. I so agree. How can father help in postpartum depression? I think I myself have seen a lot of moms who still feel it's a taboo, first. And secondly, even if they have to go to psychiatrist or a therapist, and they will never accompany the husband with them. They will think कि मैं husband को लेके जाऊंगी, husband उसका कुछ और ही मतलब निकालेंगे, and then say why तुम पागल हो रही हो, and why it is happening, why you need a therapist, you can talk to me, and things like that. And secondly, the husband, I think they don't still understand what is postpartum depression.
Oh yeah, it's not just husbands. People don't understand what depression is. Okay, let me just do this quickly. What is a mental health disorder? What is depression? And let's also talk about anxiety. There are three different states that humans find themselves in. Okay, so there is the depressed state, which is living in the past, which is not feeling connection with people, which is feeling isolation when we are disconnected with ourselves and people we love, is a depressed state. Okay. Then there is anxiety. Anxiety is fear for future. What is going to happen tomorrow? The kids will grow up. What will become of them? They're healthy, not healthy, lots of such things. Basically, when we live in the future, it's anxiety. When we live in the past, we are depressed. Now, where is peace? Is in the moment. Okay. So, postpartum depression or any depression is what? It's not feeling connected enough. It's feeling of isolation. It's feeling of this new life that is not yours anymore. It's this feeling of not having so much agency on your own self. You have this child, you're barely 24, 25, 26 yourself, and now you're not free anymore because you have to look after a child for a lifetime. You do not get the support that you need. You go into the shell, and that same thing we were talking about before was that the child is born and you don't matter as much.
Yeah.
And over and above that, the limitations that we have, ये खाओ, वो खाओ, घर से नहीं निकल सकते, 14 दिन नहीं निकल सकते, 1 महीना नहीं निकल सकते. So listen, a very, very bright girl who had a career, who had a life, who had friends, who was going out every day, is now stuck to home.
Yeah.
And this young person is now responsible for another being, and there is nobody to understand. That grieving of losing that earlier life, which was carefree. So a lot of postpartum depression comes from two places. One is actually there is that grieving time required to left that carefree life,
Yes.
and become a parent and be responsible for somebody else. And the other thing is that we don't get the support, and there is so much limitation, and people don't understand. So mother-in-laws, I think, and mothers do a great job in taking care of your baby. They know how to wrap the baby, they know how to feed the baby. You don't know that at all, which is a lot of help. But one thing that I feel do wrong is that they put a lot of limitation on women. Tell me, why can't women go out and have a coffee 5 days or 10 days after the child is born?
I too agree with you, and they put a lot of pressure on you not to see a phone because your eyes will get deteriorated. They have their own superstition. I want to discuss one of my thing that I was forced to wear that scarf, and I never like wearing anything over my head. It's just I don't feel like, and they were like, सर पे ठंड लग जाएगी, बच्चे को ठंड लग जाएगी, सर पे ठंड लग जाएगी, पहनो पहनो पहनो. I never wore scarf, and whoever was coming to my house to meet the child, everyone was मतलब told that she's not wearing scarf. ठंड लग जाएगी, ठंड लग जाएगी. I think that pressure the person feels is too much. And I think that is too much for everything. And even if any somebody is coming and they will never say good things. They will always say something or the other कि ये अच्छा नहीं है या ये ऐसे क्यों कर रहे हो, ऐसे कर लो. I think all that is a lot of pressure on a woman, on a new mother who is still juggling to understand everything. उसके भी stitches नहीं खुले हैं, and then you are coming and telling to feed her. You can't even sit when you have a small cut or something like that, and she's sitting and still feeding. And now you are saying कि अपना सर ढको, फोन पे मत देखो, ठीक है, यही बुला हुआ खाना खाना है आपको, and you can't have coffee. अगर कॉफी पियोगे तो you were saying कि go and have coffee. I think coffee का भी बहुत बड़ा myth है कि if you drink coffee, the child will not sleep.
Okay, anything in extreme is bad.
Extreme is
Right,
bad,
and we
but
understand that.
we
Does a mother not
obviously-
understand that? Yeah.
No mother will going to
Oh.
drink 10 cups of coffee in a day. But then even having a 1 cup of coffee or having her favorite food, they crave so much for the first 40 days. And I think that is the spark for postpartum depression, and that continues for
Yeah,
long
because
time.
you're disconnected to yourself.
Yes.
You cannot be the person you are. Your agency has been taken away.
Yeah.
People don't really understand what you're feeling. So it's the same thing, you know,
Same
take
thing.
care of her body, take care of her sleep, take care of the head, thand na lag jaye. But I think the most important thing to be taken care of is her emotional state when she's in that state. So that feeling of disconnection from one's own self, feeling isolated, is always the reason for depression. You will never see a person who is okay, not wanting to meet people or not wanting to just sit and chat. A depressed person is basically isolated and then is forced to stay in the past. So what is this mother going to do is, my life was much better. Oh my God, I could do anything. She's not in the moment. And it's very dangerous, Karma, because what we need to realize is that we are feeding the baby. We need to give the skin to skin. At this time, the child cannot ask for affection. And the child can feel the mother's anxiety. If the mother is anxious, if the mother is unhappy, if the mother is not feeling seen, heard, understood, it is going to our child's body, mind, and soul. So a lot of, and can't do that all on the podcast in the little time that we have, but something in psychology which is very, very well known is attachment styles. So a secured attachment style comes from a emotionally alert, emotionally available mother for a child. If we are not alert, available, happy, we cannot give a secured attachment style to our child. We've got a lot of things wrong. You know, when a child is a little older and the child is clinging on to us, a lot of people will tell us that, you know, your child is not independent. Problem hai, your parenting is a problem. But a secured attachment is that child wants to feel you, wants to be with you, and we've got it so wrong. And again, it is all dependent on a mother's mental health. I am disconnected with myself. I have lost complete agency on myself. I cannot have physical comfort with my husband. I am told what to do. I am not a 2-year-old child. I'm instructed to how to stand, how to sit, what to wear, what to put on my head, and made to feel all the time that I'm not capable of doing anything on my own. How am I going to feel? I am going to get depressed. And when I get depressed, I lose the connection with my child. And if I lose the connection of what I am supposed to give to him or her, during this early stage of my life, I am putting my child to risk of depression and anxiety later. They say that mental health conditions are genetic. Not really. What is genetic is the environment that we've given to a child. A child's emotional needs need to be met. If a mother's emotional needs are not met, if she's not okay, if she is not in her element, if she's not happy, if she's not understood, how do we give that to the child? And it's very scary, Garma, because I work with people and I work with young people. I've got 20, 30-year-olds coming. And like I was telling you earlier, I always ask them, how was your mother? Who was your mother? Because I know that that's one relationship which shapes and makes or breaks a child. And they all tell me the same thing, that don't remember her doing anything for herself. She's quite resentful. She was angry. She wasn't happy. And it breaks my heart. Because it's not just her. That burden a child carries later of feeling that the mother was never happy is too much to take. So there's such a huge connection. And again, the father's role becomes even bigger here, because he needs to be more involved emotionally, physically if possible. Today there's paternity leaves possible. But somebody needs to educate him that this is important. And if my wife is happy, if the mother of my child is happy, my children are going to study better. If the mother of my child is sorted, has a good relationship, then my children are going to have better marriages. If you tell this to a man or a father, would it not make sense to him? It will.
Definitely.
But nobody talks about that. And thank you, Garima, for bringing this podcast up to bring these conversations going, because I think that's what the world needs. We need to talk another language. There's enough that is going on, but this is something which I think is going to change the world for our children, and that's something that we need to do for them, right?
That's right. And how can a therapist help couple in counseling and talking about their needs and demands and their comfort with each other? How can therapists help them?
Okay. I think extremely important. Before getting into a partnership, I think some amount of work on emotions, psychology, human behavior would be a very good idea, which we don't do much.
Not
yeah. So when we start seeing the conflicts in couples, I think the best is to go get help the soonest possible. Even if you go late, if there is intention, then any work can be done. So, when couples come to me and they are, initially it's a lot of unburdening, because they haven't talked about their heart desires to each other, and the therapist has to kind of, help them do that. But can't be done together. Like in my counseling, I never have couples coming together initially. Because if you get them together, it's fireworks. It's blame, shame towards each other. But basically,
but isn't it important? Sorry for interrupting you, but isn't it important even if they are having fireworks? So once they are done, I think the both party will understand each other.
Oh yeah. So getting them together is the goal. But getting them together initially when they're only fireworks and there's something which is even more volatile and emotionally killing for the other person is a very bad idea. But yes, once you're unburdened, when you've done some work with the therapist, you've already got your heart in a little better place because you've unburdened a lot that's happened to you. Then is a time to come together. And the first question I always ask them when they are together is that, how committed are you to this? Are you interested in staying together? I mean, they come for counseling because they are wanting to
Obviously.
stay together, right? And I keep reiterating that and telling them that, yeah, so it's a common goal. What is your us goal? The
Yeah.
problem is it's I versus you, but staying together or wanting to stay together is a us goal that you don't talk about ever.
Absolutely.
And that kind of work really shows them the other side of the story. Like you just said, like we were speaking earlier,
Yeah.
that we talk about mental health, parenting, and we naturally think that in a couple therapy, the woman is right. Yeah. She's the one who's been suppressed. She's the one who doesn't have a life. And the husband doesn't understand. But the husband has a story as well. The husband has his own burdens. And honestly, if I have never told my husband what my needs are, how would he know?
Absolutely. That's what communication again comes.
If I am always putting my child forward, if I always tell him that, everything that we do needs to be done because of kids, for the kids, and he needs to provide for all of that, it is it's a toughie for him as well. And I think again I said it's the same thing, that I think the problem is that we don't understand each other. The problem is that we think that men come from Mars and women come from Venus, but they don't really. It is a social conditioning. They have been given a lot of stress and burdens in their life also. If you go back to your childhood and if you have a brother, um, your brother, most brothers always did maths, right? Most brothers were told quite early in their lives that अरे पढ़ाई नहीं करेगा तो फैमिली कैसे चलाएगा, अरे रो क्यों रहा है, you are, I mean, how will you handle the life if you're going to be so weak?
Yeah.
Now, that same person who also has emotions, who also has feelings, is not talking about his feelings too. He's never been allowed to be emotional, because if he is emotional, then he is a weak man. And because women are more emotional or more open about their feelings, they are the ones who are suppressed more as per us. So I think again the communication, and I think the formula is to take both people together. Even in therapy, it's what I try to do is that I give that space for a man to really express. So by the time they finish therapy with me, they understand emotions. They understand that their anger is coming from suppression. They understand that they are not communicating as well. And it helps, because in the end your child really benefits. You have a better marriage, you have a good marriage, your children have grown on safety and love. You have a bad marriage, you don't sort out your own problems, unresolved issues, your child does not know how to show up in this world in his or her own relationships. So it goes back to that same thing, yeah.
And divorces are increasing after having kids, because the other person start thinking, I think the women start thinking that our conflicts will affect our kids, so let's get divorced. And how can that be prevented? By communication, by therapy, by both of them understanding each other, because I think divorce rates are increasing tremendously, and then extramarital affairs also.
Oh my God, we're really touching the tough ones now, right? Yeah. Why are the divorces happening? Divorces are happening because the gender roles are not as strict as they were earlier. Divorces are happening because there is a lot of extended family or parental control over either or both. Yeah. Divorces are happening because, yes, now parents are getting more and more aware that if they have a bad relationship, their children are going to take their trauma forward. And what is the antidote to that? It's the same thing. When there is a conflict, you seek help right away. Because a divorce is the last stage of complete breakdown on communication and love or whatever you talk about. The stigma around therapy, the stigma around mental health counseling has been so big that we've just kept it too hidden. So divorce rate is also growing because there's more self-awareness. I'm not too sure if it's growing for reasons that we are talking about, but it's also growing because there are women who are more financially independent today. In our parents' lives or parents' generation, people didn't have a way to live. So it doesn't mean that there were great marriages then as well.
Yeah, agree.
Yeah.
That's right.
But yes, what to do? Divorce is never the way out. Divorce is only, and I probably send that to you as well. I've got this beautiful article in Times of India, which I penned down some time ago, where what do you do if you have a bad relationship? Is divorce the way out or not? Should you stay back for your kids or not? And I only have one answer to that. If it's a relationship which is abusive, if it is a relationship which is rendering you completely powerless, and it could be man or woman, both, and that abuse is what your children are seeing, even if they don't have it in their own lives, they are seeing, and there is no way out because the person that you're married to has huge amount of trauma, is not interested in learning, has a huge mental health issue which you've tried everything to and nothing can be done, I think it's better to get out, because one person in a child's life who is absolutely committed is enough. But yes, father or mother in their lives is a bonus, which I think everybody should have. But if not,
It's one person.
it's the work you do. And you know, people live in bad marriages not because they want to, because they don't know how to make it better. It's again learning. If you don't go to therapy, if you don't learn about human behavior, if you don't know where you are stuck, maybe you're bringing social conditioning, maybe you're bringing your own trauma to the marriage. Till the time you're not self-aware, you can't do the work. So just getting up and taking help the moment you think that this is going to be detrimental for us and our children, it can really bring the divorce rates down. But again, there's so much stigma around it still that taking help means that we are weaker people ourselves.
I truly agree to you because I into this space and I got to talk a lot to moms, and when I put a podcast on mental health, a lot of them message me, okay, whom should I contact? I don't want to tell my family. I don't want to tell my husband that I'm suffering from this or I'm having this problem. Can I have an online consultation with somebody? I feel that why you can't tell your husband? Why it is like that?
Because where are they coming from?
Yeah.
You know, a lot of problems, Karima, go back to patriarchy, go back to gender inequality, go back to how we've been in the social ecosystem that we live in. But it's a good idea even if you can do it on your own without telling. Because when your own power within ignites, that's when you'll be ready to tell as well. But you have to first come out of the dungeon yourself. You know, when somebody clicks the button to finally come for therapy, the work has already started then. Because you need a lot of, power within, you need a lot of courage, you need a lot of understanding of your own situation to know that I'm in this dungeon. I'm at the bottom of the ocean. I don't know where to go. It doesn't matter even if the people in my life don't understand and don't know and I can't take help. I have somebody out there and there is a professional service. So there's somebody who I can heart connect to. It's just a good idea to come because that step of telling your husband will come as well. Once you are empowered, only you will get there, right?
I agree
Because
with you.
that husband
Makes
could be
sense.
coming with a very difficult notion of घर की बात बाहर नहीं जानी
नहीं
चाहिए, which is a huge social conditioning that we live with. You know, a lot of abusing families or dysfunctional families keep going on and repeating the patterns because we've been taught very early in our lives कि घर की बात बाहर नहीं जानी चाहिए. If that is the case, and one person has gotten empowered enough or heard that there is help, I would say find it however way, and good therapists, I must tell you, I'm not doing this work to make millions out of it. Good therapists out there understand why people can't come. They understand how their hands are tied. But somebody has to come and seek help and tell me that Sakshi, I can't pay, I'm like stuck, I can only pay this much. Help me. I will never say no, Karan.
That's so sweet of you.
But that's required because I know if she was okay and if she was not in the dungeon, then her life would be okay, then she doesn't need me.
Absolutely.
She needs somebody to get her out of that ditch. And if I do this, and I know how to do this, and I understand human behavior, then it's not just my duty, it's my privilege. So if some people in this world can find their own power within thanks to me, if they can live better lives thanks to me, I'm done. My purpose of my life is done. But somebody needs to be able to, if somebody doesn't ask for help or doesn't make the contact, how do I know?
So that's what my husband say a line which is very beautiful. बात करने से ही बात बनती है.
Oh yeah, I mean, and that's such an interesting thing because good businessmen really know this well. By the way, my husband says the same thing. Because जब पूछा ही नहीं तो मिलेगा कैसे जिंदगी में कुछ, right?
Absolutely.
But so much to talk about this, right? Yeah.
Thank you so much, Sakshi ma'am, for such an enlightening session. I think a lot of couples will get to understand each other after listening to this. I think they'll communicate better. Rather going for harsher way out, they'll find a good way out, that there are couple therapists who can help them in a better way.
And there's work that can be done.
Yes, there's
Yeah,
work that can
yeah,
be done. Yeah, thank you.
But thank you so much, Karima. It was my pleasure to be here.